it's a business, right? Like, I think that's what a lot of people outside of the business don't realize. You're like, there's a business,
Yeah.
politics, and just it's work. I mean, it's great. We all love it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's work, right? And just there's so much.
Exactly.
Did you, when you were on Gossip Girl, did you as the cast or you in general, did you sit around and try to figure out who Gossip Girl was like the rest of the world?
I don't think we had time to even think about who Gossip Girl was. I think we had an idea. And I think towards the end, especially, we were like, okay, who are they going to say Gossip Girl is? Like, but I don't think any of us knew, or at least I didn't. I don't know.
Were you shocked to find out it was Dan?
I kind of was. I think it was
Kinda.
good. It was kind of, when they said it, it was kind of obvious, but I wouldn't have gone there first.
I agree. I'm like, of course, this is so obvious, but not in a million years would I have thought that.
Yeah.
Did you ever think it was Lily? Sorry to cut you off.
No, I didn't think it was Lily. I thought it might have been Jenny or, my kid, my young kid, but I didn't, I wouldn't think it would have been Lily.
Well, speaking of your children on Gossip Girl, Connor, Paulo, Eric, it wasn't really before its time, but you dealt with it so well, like the writers and like you as a mother, like his whole, like, coming out story, like, you live in New York, like, as a gay man, I can say like that story you played so well. Like, how great was that to be able to be a part of that storyline?
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And he did such a beautiful job too, which made my job easy. He's such a wonderful actor. Really.
He is. He was in Revenge on ABC like a little later, which was also a great show.
Yeah.
You don't watch TV? I watch way too much TV. I watch way too much TV. What about, do you have any interest in like doing stage work in New York, like Broadway, like at this point in your career?
I've never had a real interest, and I don't know why. It's just not been, or maybe I just didn't get sort of into it young enough that I was like, so many of my friends that have done it, they're like, oh my God, if I could just only do theater, I'd be so happy. So I think I just never got that thing where I did enough of it to where I was just, I have to go do this. And I guess I have other things. I don't know. I like go to work and then I have my life. Do you know what I mean? So I think I'm not, I don't know. If something great was offered, I would totally do it.
Do you have any current projects you're working on now from like an acting point of view?
I haven't, not at the moment, because we've been in this sort of weird COVID time. So it's been a little bit slower, you know what I mean, in terms of projects. But, I came out kind of right before this and was taking meetings for series, and then everything got put on hold. So in that time, I've been developing these other things, the shopping thing and the app, and, a few projects in terms of producing that I'd like to act in as well.
How much do you love the producing side of things?
It's new, it's really fun. I mean, you realize how challenging it is in some ways, and in other ways, how creative it is and how fun it is. So it's really almost like connecting the dots, and sort of how do you connect all these different dots to stack the deck so it makes sense, to do it. But I definitely have a lot more admiration for all the people that have been able to create a Melrose Place or create a Gossip Girl or create a show that is phenomenal, because it is an alchemy,
to come up with like, I mean, I would think doing the producing would be challenging, but so interesting as well. Cause like, it's so creative, like you said, but hard. Like, does it give you a different perspective on like yourself as an actress, or like the people that are the actors and actresses, kind of stepping into that role with these new projects?
It does, but I think it's something that's always been a part of my personality. So it's not like, I mean, I think there are actors that I could see just really focusing on acting and having no interest in producing, and a lot of people have said, you should direct, or do you want to direct? And I think producing makes the most sense for me, even more than directing, or even though I think I would enjoy directing, or I might, and it's just sort of happening naturally. So I'm just going with what's naturally working and flowing too. And I think also it's just being a storyteller, and there's stories that I would love to see told. And I think that's part of it, is just, when things come to you and you think, oh, this is a story I think would be beautifully told, or I would like to be in, it becomes, it's different than just saying, I want to produce something. You have you have a real creative
Absolutely.
reason for doing it. Yeah.
Well, we have the Gossip Girl reboot on the air now, and we had another reincarnation of 90210 2 years ago, even though there was the CW. So just because there was a CW Melrose, perhaps as a producer, you might want to do a different version of Melrose. Perhaps you would like to be a producer on that and get a couple people back together.
Didn't they do a reboot of Melrose though?
They did it the same way 90210 did it on the CW, but then like 90210 just did it with all like the original people, and like they played heightened versions of themselves. So it was like the way they did it would be like you would be playing Kelly Rutherford playing Megan Lewis Mancini.
Right. Well, I would partner with someone to do that. I don't know if I'd put my full focus in there, but if somebody was interested in doing that, let's say at the studio, I would definitely get behind it in any way I could, for sure.
It was such good. Maybe you should call Marcia Cross and you guys can like be
I
co-producers.
know. Marcia's wonderful.
I'm just trying to give you, some things. And Marcia was just in You with Penn Bagley on Netflix. She had like a small role in it. Do you like the business stuff you're doing, the non-acting? Like, I know so many actors and actresses that do have these like, apps and projects, and they're just like, this is a whole new world and I love it. Like, is that a whole new side of yourself you're discovering?
It totally is. And it's fun because, you just don't know what you can do until you do it, and you figure it out as you go. And then you learn sort of what things that you have to offer that are actually great that you didn't know you had to offer. And then you find things that you go, oh my God, I have no idea how to do this. And you're learning. And I think the idea is just to keep learning and expanding and being creative in whatever form that takes. So these are just sort of new forms to be creative and express. I've always loved like emerging brands and the idea of shopping the show and being able to, I remember we were doing Gossip Girl thinking we should be able to shop this. Why aren't we able to shop this show? And they're finally doing it. And it's sort of like an exciting thing to be a part of that, because it was something I had thought however many years ago. I was like, we should be able to do this. And of course I was like a mom and acting and busy. I wouldn't have had time to even think about developing or helping move that along. But now more and more people are doing it, and it's definitely good to see. So to be a part of it is nice.
It makes so much sense, right? Because like you watch something and you see, especially like a show like Gossip Girl or like a Sex and the City where it's all about the fashion, not all about, and you're like, people want to buy this now. So
yeah,
it kind of makes sense.
It's the future.
As we wrap up, if you had to look back at like the beginning of your career, like what advice would you give to yourself, your young self, before you started on Generations way back in the day? Like, what would you advice would you give to yourself?
Just that we're not limited as we think we are. I think we're really multidimensional beings. I think we're really capable of doing so much more than we know, and to, not get caught up in the labels of things, whether you're an actor, you're a creative person, and that can be expressed through so many different avenues. So, and again, the industry and the business and the world has changed so much since I started. So, obviously my advice would be from this perspective. And back then when I started, a lot of these things weren't even happening. Now you have like people, cross branding and everything. You have actors designing, you have musicians creating brands, there's just a different world than when I first started. So there's a bigger, broader opportunity base. But I would just say, do what you love and enjoy it. Just enjoy it. I think that's the key. And that's it. Just enjoy the process and keep being creative. Keep finding new ways to be creative. Really.
And like you get to do what you love.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like at least I've always done what I love, for better or worse. And you just keep evolving. That's the whole point, right? Just to keep evolving. And I think a lot of people, just keep exploring different things that you're interested in.
I love it. Is there anything else you want to discuss? I mean, you know, I came here with my own agendas of wanting to talk about Melrose Place and Gossip Girl and your whole career, but being a huge fan of both shows, I have to say, I appreciate you doing this. I don't say that to everyone, but you were on two of my absolute favorite TV shows of all time. And I know you're not either of those characters, which I imagine sometimes in real life, people come up to you and might forget that you're not Lily, right?
Yeah.
But I appreciate, you know, you doing this because you didn't have to. So I want to thank you.
Oh my gosh.
This one was personal for me, is what I'm saying.
Oh, well, I just so appreciate you asking me to, and that's so kind of you to say. And I feel honored to be on your show. And I think you're really, really good at what you do. I've done a few of these, and you're really, really good at what you do. And you have such beautiful energy. And I'm just really thankful you asked me to do it. I really loved this conversation so much.
Well, thank you for saying that because you didn't have to. So that means a lot. And anytime you have something to promote or you want to come back, the door is wide open for you.